Hey guys, in just a minute you're going to read the section Alabama Portrait, and it's on Helen Keller, and she's one of my favorites because the lady, she was deaf and blind, y'all. And not only was she deaf and blind, but she learned how to read, she learned how to communicate, she overcame all of that. And there's so many things, she didn't let that hold her back. And I feel like she is a good example, a good role model, and that's why we're going to do this project on her. You're going to read Alabama Portrait on page 278 and 279, and there are 4 quotes that she says. There are 4 different things that you read here, but I'll read them to you. We are never truly happy until we try to brighten the lives of others. The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched, but just felt in the heart. The most beautiful world is always entered through the imagination. And number 4, if I, deaf, blind, find life rich and interesting, how much more can you gain by the use of your 5 senses? So I'm going to run through each one of these and just kind of give you a brief description of what it means to me. But we're not worried about what it means to me. I'm worried about what it means to you, because you are going to write 2 or 3 paragraphs, and you are going to reflect on at least one of these quotes, and you're going to think about the meaning of the statement, the significance of the statement being made by Helen Keller, and what it means to you personally. You might wish to use to look back to this or to look back to the video to help you with your when you're writing. But let's go back and look at the very first quote. We are never truly happy until we try to brighten the lives of others. To me, that means that not only do I don't need to necessarily worry about making myself others, but I know how I want to be treated. I want people to be kind to me. I want people to be helpful to me and not talk about me behind my back. I want them to be happy and joyful. And so if I treat people that way, if I treat people how I want to be treated, if I'm kind to everyone, and if I do things to help them, that's how I want people to treat me. So we're not truly happy until we try to help others, until we try to brighten somebody else's day. That means we're not going to be happy with ourselves if we're focusing on me, trying to buy somebody else, trying to do something for somebody else. I love it. This is not something that I advertise or say, ooh, look what I'm doing. Look what I'm doing. Ooh, look at me. It's not that, because I feel like when you do something kind for others, you are not supposed to talk about that, because that takes away the joy from it. But I'll tell you one thing that I do, that I love to do. And God laid this on my heart, and I've been doing this for a while now, but I don't ever tell anybody about it. But I'm sharing it with you just to give you an example. And I don't want you to share it with anybody just because I'm not looking to get any glory. But I love it when somebody gets in line behind me at the drive-thru, whether I know them, especially if I don't know them. Because if I don't know them, that makes it even more special to me. It could be I've paid for, like a cup of coffee on up to a couple of people's meals. And I love that, just especially if they're strangers and I don't know them, or if it's somewhere in Anniston or Oxford or LaGrange or wherever I might be, especially if it's somebody that I don't know, because I know that they're never going to get to tell me thank you. But I don't care about that, because it makes me feel good on the inside and it brings me joy. All right, let's look at the second one. The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched, but just felt in the heart. When I just told you about how that makes me feel on the inside, doing something for somebody else, that makes me feel so good. And I just get flooded with emotions, thinking about being kind to others, and thinking about all the times that people, have been kind to me. Those are the best things. Those are things that you remember. When you are flooded with emotions, that's when you remember things. Love, that's love. That's compassion. Those are things that you feel in your heart. That's empathy. Those are things that you feel in your heart. And those are the best lessons in life, not a lesson that you can learn in a book. That's important, yes. The most important lessons that you learn in life are not in a book. The most beautiful world is always entered through the imagination. To me, that just means, taking someone's idea and kind of piggybacking off of it. having a picture going as I'm reading a book, or imagining a problem that I have and using my imagination to make it better. So the most beautiful world is always entered through the imagination. That's why I love to read so much. I love to read Christian fiction and historical fiction. That's my absolute favorite. Because, I get to imagine what life was like, and it paints a picture for me, and I get to imagine what life was like whenever I'm reading my Christian fiction or my historical fiction. And quote number 4, if I, deaf and blind, find life rich and interesting, how much more can you gain by the use of your 5 senses? So what she's saying is she can't see. She's deaf and she's blind. She can't see what's going on. She can't hear anything. Can you imagine? That gives me chills thinking about that. The empathy that I feel for her, the compassion that I feel for her, that overwhelms me, and it makes me want to think about what I take for granted. Just being able to look around my room and see all the beautiful colors, and being able to go outside and seeing the sky, or listening to my favorite song, or hearing my niece and my nephews laugh, or hearing my mama or my daddy say, I love you, or hearing kids giggle in the hall, those kinds of things. She's saying, use your senses, what you can see, what you can hear, what you can smell, what you can taste, what you can feel. Use those. And she's saying, don't ever take it for granted, because she doesn't have those things. And one day you might not either. So you are going to, again, to write about 2 or 3 paragraphs, and you are going to take one of those quotes that we just talked about. And again, you can use this video as reference, or you can look back on page 278 and you can see all of the quotes there. You're going to think about the meaning of the statement, the significance of the statement being made by Helen Keller, and what it means to you personally. Not what it means to me, not what it means to somebody else, but what does that mean to you?